I'd like to speak in the shiurim now about anger, the meter of anger, which the shiurim we're giving now are going to be used for the next volume of Yedidya, who's going to be getting married soon, B'shat Tov Mutzlachas. And of course, the attribute of anger is very important to be controlled or eliminated in marriage. And there's a very excellent book about marriage from Rabbi Aaron Feldman, The River, the Catalan Bird. It's based on a Gemara in Brachos. If you see a river, Catalan bird in a dream, what does that mean? And the Gemara here is on Shabbos Daf Lamed Aleph. It's a famous Gemara about Hillel. Very interesting story about Hillel. Two people made a bet that they could get Hillel angry, and one of them came Erev Shabbos while he was washing 3 times, and they asked him these really weird questions. If you look here, in fact, at the end of the Maram Komos, I printed out the story. Right, the very end. So the first question he asked was, why do Babylonians have long heads? You ever seen a Babylonian? They have these long heads. And the second question he asked, why are the eyes of the Talmudians distorted? They look, interesting eyes. And the third question is, why do Africans have flat feet? Right? Others have asked that question since. But Hillel wasn't fazed by these questions. And in fact, he took them really seriously. He said, you're asking a really, really good question. He wasn't disturbed by the fact that it was Erev Shabbos and he was in the middle of a shower, but he took the questions very seriously, and he answered each one. He said, the Babylonians, they don't have good midwives, and the Talmudians, they live in the sand, and the Africans, it depends on the place where they're living. It's indigenous to having flat feet. In any event, it seems like one of these interesting stories. My kids, my grandchildren actually, they have this book with cartoons about Gemara stories, and it seems like a really nice, cute, interesting story. But I believe that there's a very big omic, there's a depth in this story, and if we can tap into this omic, I think it will really help us stop getting angry, especially at our spouses, who also we might think ask some stupid questions sometimes. And the thing is like this. In fact, the poskim use this Gemara. They learn out there's a mitzvah tawasha or Shabbos. We learn from Hillel. And Hillel was an appropriate person to teach us. Hillel used to wash himself every day. And when he would wash himself, he would say this l'kvoid koini. I'm taking the shower in honor of my Creator. Rav Dan Segel once said, he wanted to speak to Rav Avigdor Miller. He said, can we speak at 2 o'clock? He said, that's my shower time. Right, I have a zman kavua for a shower. So, Lamaitza, there's a big Indian to shower, especially for your chavrusas and other people in the Beis Medrash. So it's a very big mitzvah. In fact, one Rav told me once from Rav Avigdor Miller, he said, whoever doesn't take a shower in the 9 days is a shor mazik. Yeah, shor mazik. Yeah. So that's the idea, showering. So I believe there was a very deep chakravataria, give and take here, between Hillel and between Hillel and his bar pluktas, we may call him, antagonist, right? And what was the machlokas? What was the dispute, right? The antagonist was saying, of course he wanted to get money, he had 400 zuz on the line, but he was saying, you think that you should shower in Hashem's honor? The body doesn't show Hashem's honor, and he brought 3 proofs, because we have these funny looking people. The Babylonians are funny looking, they have these long heads, and Talmudians, they have these weird eyes, and the Africans have flat feet. So you see, Hashem didn't do such a good job creating people, he messed up in a few places. And he'll say, no, you should know, that's also part of Hashem's chokmah. That's also part of Hashem's chokmah, the fact that these people look seemingly funny looking. Yeah, seemingly funny looking, right? So what was Hillel doing be'etzim? What was his strategy here to save himself from anger? The guy at the end said, are you Hillel, who never gets angry? He said, yeah. So I'm very upset because you made me lose 400 zuz. He said, you should lose 800 zuz and not get Hillel angry. But what was Hillel's strategy over here? Was to understand, as we've said many times from Rav Shimon Galoy, everything that happens to us is infinite chesed, right? If somebody asks you a seemingly really, really stupid question, it's for a reason. Right? It's coming to teach you something. And maybe it's your Rosh Kolol, maybe it's your friend, maybe it's your chavrusa, maybe it's your spouse, right? But everything is coming to teach you. Every single thing that happens in life, this is what Reb Shimon Galoy taught me on the beach in Netanya when I bumped into him, right? I went and bumped into him. My son said, "Oh, there's Shimon Galoy." And I asked him, "How do you do this? How do you make sure to accept everything with calmness?" And he said, "Everything is Hashem's infinite chesed. So there's no reason ever to get about saying. Just the opposite. Whatever happens to you, there's infinite depth. And usually the worse it looks, the better it is. Yeah? If you get run over by a car, chas v'shalom, no one should, but that's something really, really good as long as you survive. But we have to know this. And this is what Hillel was teaching us. Right? Don't take anything at face value. Don't take things at face value. Someone comes over and to ask you a really stupid question, okay? Maybe it's to get you to be more patient, but maybe there's something, he's asking something deeper, And think into what people are saying, and especially spouses. Men and women, they tend to misunderstand each other, and there's an excellent book. The author is probably, I can't say anything about him because I'm in a base medrash, but really a mushris. But he wrote a book of tremendous chachma, which is called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And he has in the back there a Venetian dictionary. We'll speak about that more. But that's the first step. The first step is to understand that everything that happens is Hashem's infinite wisdom, and to treat it as such. And if it looks really strange and weird, and like the person maybe is perhaps trying to disgrace you, don't jump to conclusions. Okay.